Everybody, this is Max and Breeze, and don't forget you're watching Caribbean TV. Stay tuned. God bless you all. Peace.
Rivera, I was charged with seditious conspiracy to overthrow the government of the United States in Puerto Rico by force.
My name is Carlos Alberto Torres. I am a Puerto Rican political prisoner.
Oscar Lopez Rivera and Carlos Alberto Torres were activists in the Puerto Rican community in support of Puerto Rican independence in the 60s and 70s. In the early 1980s, they were arrested and convicted for seditious conspiracy, and they have been in prison ever since.
We were accused of conspiring to overthrow the government of the United States in Puerto Rico. This charge originated as a response to our participation in the Puerto Rican independence movement and as a reaction by the U.S. government to put down what was then a growing armed resistance movement to its century-long colonial occupation of Puerto Rico. An occupation that began in 1898 and has variously defined Puerto Rico as a territory of the United States, as a possession of the United States, as belonging to but not a part of the United States.
I think that the fact that I was charged with seditious conspiracy to overthrow the government of the United States speaks for itself. But the charge in reference to Puerto Ricans has always been used for political purposes. It goes back to 1936, the first time that a group of Puerto Ricans was put in prison was by using the seditious conspiracy charge. And this has always been a strictly political charge used against Puerto Ricans.
In the federal trials in 1981 in Chicago, they were basically accused of 28 actions of armed propaganda, none of which involved injuring or killing anybody. No drop of blood was shed. If you compare their sentences to almost any other group of offenses, murder, kidnapping, homicide, anything that involves violence, their sentences were about 7 to 10 times higher. But what it tells you is they weren't punished for what they did, they were punished for who they were and what they stood for. Now in the United States, it's illegal to do that. You can't punish people for their political beliefs and affiliations. But their sentences can really communicate to the world that that's what they were punished for. Releasing political prisoners throughout international tradition and even in the United States is often used as a means of reconciliation. There is a recognition by even the Bush administration that Puerto Rico is a colony and that its status needs to be resolved. Now, throughout history, any reconciliation process has involved the release of political prisoners. And the United States can't just pressure other countries to do that in the name of reconciliation or in the name of human rights and not practice it at home. And so really, it's a very reasonable and historically based demand that the Bush administration do what it insists other countries do, and that is release its political prisoners in the name of reconciliation, in the name of justice, in the name of righting wrongs, historical wrongs like disproportionate sentences.
If history has taught us anything, it is that the price of freedom is always high. Throughout my imprisonment, I have witnessed what long confinement can do to some. Long periods of incarceration can very often distort a personality and defeat a person. One can, however, live through a long confinement and more than survive. The greatest challenge, after all, is not just to survive this experience, but to persevere and thrive, to know freedom even from behind these walls. Anytime we can overcome the fears that impede our progress and instead act with courage is to know freedom.
Si me des de todo y ve a mi sexy body, que el mundo sepa que soy la que quieres tener, sepan que soy tu mami. Yo quiero que tú me toques y me des de todo y ve a mi sexy body, que el mundo sepa que soy la que quieres tener, sepan que soy tu mami. La Civil Queen, la mujer, la que tú quieres tenerla, con todo Puerto Rico la masa por mover. Tell me que sabes lo que tú me vas a hacer, a Jamaica tú me llevas a bailar de que un chance, babe. Me gusta.
No tienes tu sexy body. Quisiera un chance de conocerte. Me gusta.
Puerto Rico, one time.
Tienes tu sexy body. Yo te quisiera junto a mí. Cosas yo te quiero decir en el oído que solo tú puedes oír. Las cosas que sueño de ti, fantasías que quiero cumplir. Yo quiero que tú seas mi papi. Quisiera un chance de conocerte. Me gusta como tienes tu sexy body. Quisiera un chance de conocerte. Me gusta como tienes tu sexy body.
Al que se meta le vamos a dar. Con este sexy body lo vamos a castigar. Con esta música original. Mujer en todo
como tienes tu sexy body.